And we are live finally on this Tuesday. Um, all right, let me see if I can. It's always like a delay.
Okay, because I keep refreshing. There it is. There it is.
Live. Oh, technology,
It's your friend until it's not.
right? All right, so let me tag you. All right, I think we have it. Let me go to my Tangy T page. And we are live.
We are live and we're having technical issues, but we're working them out.
Yes, we are. Oh, don't you just love being live? Listen, it's so different like when you're recording, but when you're live, you're live. You're out there. All your business is out there. There's no turning back. Like whatever is put out there on
Yeah.
the street, it is there. So, um, my other guest, Eric, is having some technical difficulties. We was trying to get him on the live, so he is working things out on the back end. So as soon as he get it together, we'll add him um, on the show. But right now, we are getting prepared for a very good show tonight. Tangy Tea of Life. This is where we talk about any and everything. Right now, let's take a moment and let me see.
When a woman is
Oops.
Oh,
talking, you
what is
still in
Didn't
the
that?
mean to
game.
do
I
When
that.
thought
she
that
goes
was
silent,
that
That's
was my
off your
intro.
page. No, that's off your page, actually.
All
It's
right,
like
let's
it
take.
trying to do too much.
Okay, 19 seconds. Here we go.
ladies and gentlemen,
This is Tangy Tea of Life, where we talk about any and everything. I am your host, Veronica, back with you on this Tuesday night. My girl EG, Coach EG, is joining me as
Hey,
well. So
y'all.
glad to have you on the live again tonight, EG. It's always a pleasure when
Thank
you
you for
stop.
having me. I always get
Yes,
excited when I'm invited.
always, because we always know it's going to be some juicy stuff when
Mhm.
you're on here. And like I said earlier, if you guys were not on the live, Eric, he will be joining us in a little bit as soon as he can figure out what is going on his end. And when you're live, anything is possible, anything can take place. So that's the beauty of being live. But it's all
Technology is your friend until it's not.
listen. I'm telling you, we all love it until some things go wrong, right?
Right.
But it is definitely all good. Welcome to Take It to Your Life. This is where we talk about any and everything. So glad to have y'all join us. If you have not done so already, go ahead and follow the page Tangy Tea of Life on Facebook, also on YouTube as well. We're live over there. You can check us out by watching YouTube as well. So, and when you go to YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel. All right. Once again, happy Tuesday. We are back. It is hot here in South Carolina. Can we talk about the heat though?
Can we not?
It,
Listen, I planted some plants around my yard a few months ago to give me, a little activity and hobby.
yes.
Cute. language, but I decided them bitches can die. I'm over it.
Listen, no more water for them, huh?
No more watering, no more weeding. I'm over it. I'm over it. Speaking of watering, I realized something that I planted in the backyard. Girl, it must have gotten hot Saturday when I went out there to water them. I left the damn hose pipe. I just caught it today.
Like, forget this.
I think I was fighting the gnats, the heat. I was like, you know what, I'm over it. And I left the whole doggone thing just running.
Right. I know that's right. I probably would have just had it all going all over me, just whoo. It's so hot outside. But Lord, we thank you for the sunshine, right?
We do. We
It's just
do.
it's,
We
it's
do.
just a little hot right now, but man, I'm telling you, if you don't have to be out there in the heat, please
Do
don't
not.
be
Do not.
because it is hot.
Hot.
But we do have some things planned. But first, EJ, how was your weekend?
It was okay. It was okay. We've had a passing in our family, so just that was, sad for sure.
Yeah,
But overall, quiet weekend, good weekend, minus the heat.
right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
How about you? What did you get into, Miss Girl, about the world?
Oh my gosh. Listen, I can say that I had a special weekend with my little new special friend. Um,
I saw the
oh
video.
my
That was too
God.
cute.
She's so sweet. Like, so I've been working at this camp in Bishopville. It's at a private school. I've been working for 3 weeks there with their summer flex camp.
Mhm.
And when I tell you I fell in love with the students there, I fell in love with those kids. Like it's been amazing.
That's what's up.
These past 3 weeks, just loving up on them, giving them hugs, and
Mhm.
just I thank God for even placing that in my life because I had
Right.
a great experience. My
What's up?
girl, I call her my little friend, Zai. I think she's probably on here watching tonight. Hey Zai, she is actually I think Zai is going to the ninth grade
Okay.
there. So her and I became really close. She is dear to my heart. Um, Also, the little kindergarten who I made the video with, Brianna, we came really close, and she just melted my heart. Hugging up on her and
She kind of looks like you, V.
listen. Oh
I
my
thought
God.
that was one of your nieces. I did.
Someone else said that it was like, yeah, look alike. But no, I never met her a day in my life until I, started at the camp. And
Right.
it drew to my heart. Um, and what got me, Zai actually saw the mother when like the camp was over. I was like,
Mhm.
oh my God, am I gonna be able to see these kids? I knew I was gonna stay in contact with Zai. Um, but the mother of Brianna, the kindergarten, she actually made a post on the school website and was asking, did anyone know Miss Samuel because her daughter cried herself to sleep because she wanted to see. I was like,
Oh.
oh my God. So Zai reached out to me and she, asked, did I see the post? And I was like, no, I haven't seen it. So I reached out to the mom. I inboxed her. I left my contact information. So we started communicating. And I was like, oh, I want to take Brianna to get some ice cream
Now
Saturday.
you got a little adopted niecey.
Listen, yes, absolutely. That is my heart. And the thing is, what's so crazy is she reminds me so much of myself.
I swear she had your vibe, your manners. Like I said, I thought that was one of your nieces. So yeah. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
like she loves the camera. She loves
Mhm.
making the TikTok videos. She
You
have her
made me
own
mad because she got a little dance down. I'm like, okay, I'm still crossing
learning
off
it.
the yeah. All I got is the fan pop. That's all I got. That's all
Listen,
I got.
girl, like she be getting it. Like at the summer camp, like she had the dances down pat. So now I
Right.
have to contact. I had to get in her. I'm gonna have to find out her TikTok because she knew how to work the TikTok. Like she made a TikTok video on my TikTok and posted. I'm like, I didn't even know until people started laughing. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, wow. Got your
but
little
yeah, the little
social
girl's
media
smart. She's funny.
assistant.
Yeah, like she's smart. She's funny. She's lovable. Like I love the kids. Like absolutely, it was the best experience
That's
ever.
cool. That's
So
cool. That's what's up.
yeah, it was so good. Hey Tori, hey Mike, hey Miss Rainey, Lisa, Zai, Mr. Sammy, hey to everyone that's watching tonight. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. Tori, once again, the invitation is open to you if you want to jump on. Keep the faith with Tori. You can jump on. I can send you the link. I don't know what happened to our other guest, Eric. He was trying in the background to fix technical
Technical difficulties.
difficulties that was going on his end. So hopefully he'll be
Hey,
able to.
Katasha. I saw Katasha earlier. She had
Hey,
jumped.
Katasha. Yep. I see her now. Hey, Katasha, and all of you who are watching. I appreciate y'all so much. So yes, we wanted a male to come on so that we could get a male perspective as well. Fatin could not join us tonight. He's going to be busy for like the next 2 weeks. Until he's able to get back on the show, we'll be having guests in and out. I love when guests come on, especially my men, because I love to hear their
Mhm.
side of things. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Absolutely.
Uh, so that makes things even more special. I think Shayna is watching. Mr. Hudson, hey everyone out there, appreciate you. Um, Let me see. Hey, Kadarius. Darius, say hi. That's Tori's son. All right, Tori. Miss Rainey, I know you'll be in town this week. So I'm excited to see you all the way from White Plains, New York. Thank you so much for watching. But we definitely want to get into the show. Like I said, hopefully Eric will be joining us soon. But tonight we're going to be talking, relationship topics and things surrounding relationships and what makes relationships special and things that need to be talked about when it comes to relationship. Like one thing that I have down is financial independence. We don't talk about that enough. We don't talk about how, and we know that when it comes to relationships, finance plays a big role in
Mhm.
relationships because sometimes, believe it or not, people actually break up because of
Because of
money,
finances. Yeah.
finances. Yeah, so that is definitely important. Um, and the topic was navigating money matters together, financial planning, budgeting, having that open communication when it comes to money. But EJ, my question to you is like, when is it acceptable? When is it, time to have that conversation with your better half when it comes to money? First going into a relationship, or when do you think?
Almost from day one, but here's the but and the caveat, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you have the full on conversation day one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our first date, you are assessing one another, right? Typically, am I vibing with this person? Am I attracted? Is there chemistry? Can he hold a conversation? Can she hold a conversation?
Mm-hmm.
Other things you want to look for, right, is, what is their what is their persona with money? What is their belief system around money? So
Mm-hmm.
let's just say if we're on a first date and you're watching, obviously everybody's going to be top tier usually on the first date because we want to impress, right? But
Absolutely.
you're watching for cues, not if this person has money, not if this person is necessarily good with money, but more or less what's more important than anything that I think we miss is, does this person's belief system and value system around money vibe with mine? And do I vibe with theirs? And can we find a compromise in the middle? If not, right?
Mhm.
So I say it's really day one, but again, you're not making an assessment. What's their credit? What's their this or that? It becomes along the way, and then obviously when it's getting serious, where you're talking about being in some form of a committed relationship, then you obviously want to have more full-on conversations. But you should be paying attention
Mhm.
almost from day one.
Right. That's what I was going to say. The listening and the watching, I think, is very important. Not necessarily jumping out and saying, "Hey, what's your credit score?" Because I see a lot of times the women will make posts not knowing if they're serious or not. Like someone
Right.
will be like, the first questions I'm going to ask, "What's your credit score? How many kids you have?" Blah 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 blah. But I feel like asking someone what is their credit score first off the top on a first day, I feel like that's a bit much. I feel like, are you going in it? What reasons are you going in to get to know this person? Is it for money? Like
Right.
what is that? And if I was a male, that is how I would look at it.
Right.
From a female's point of view, if I'm out on a date, first date with a man, and I'm asking him what's his credit score, I feel like that would be a red flag.
Why does it matter on a first date or a second date? That again, that's for more down the road when we're long term. And credit score is something that's so fluid and
Mm-hmm.
is so complex that more so than the credit score is, again, what is their value system around money?
Yeah.
I've known people that make half of what I make, right? And are 20 times better with money than me. Make
Yeah.
a fourth of what you know what I'm saying? So, I have this saying, and I've said it probably since I was a teenager, but it's just like when you and your girlfriends go out for a weekend. I am very huge about, I only travel with people that move like I move.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If it's
Absolutely.
somebody that's going to, you know, when you say we're planning a trip and they got a penny pinch and you pick the hotel and then they want to say, well, okay, we can sleep at four to a room. No, ma'am. You no, we too grown for that.
Yeah.
Right. But then at the same time, I'm not gonna go with the girlfriend who says, hey, we going, no holes barred, throwing everything at the wall. We're not. So you gotta find your speed.
Hmm.
You gotta find your speed. And so a huge part of it is learning from day one.
Right.
And then you progressively start to realize what's important.
Right.
And I think as the relationship starts to grow and move, then you have those bigger conversations around what do you earn and what is your credit score and what do you feel about savings and all of
Right.
that.
Right. Yeah, and I was going to say something about that too, as far as budgeting. How about if you find someone that's on a different level? You budget, they don't budget. You like to save, they don't like to save, but at the same time, all the other check marks are checking off. Everything
Right.
else is like top tier. What do you do then? Like, how do you handle that?
You have to make some decisions. What are you willing to make concessions on? And that's a huge part of why I was saying, what does credit score matter in the beginning? Ladies, we can't always have it both ways, right? We can't necessarily want the guy that has the great credit score,
Hmm.
the big money and all that. There's a saying, if you see me with nice stuff, nice shit got to be paid for.
Yeah.
So if you want me to have all these things on your checklist, guess what? That does not mean I am going to spend that on you. And
Hmm.
and vice versa, fellas. It does
Right.
not mean I'm going to spend those things on you. Um, and it can be tough, especially now, obviously part of it does depend on age. When you're a little bit older and you're a little bit more secure and stable in who you are,
Hmm.
then you're less dependent on what the other person has. But even that can be a challenge. And I would say, if you're someone that likes to shop, that likes to spend, um, and you feel like, hey, but I'm good within my means. I work hard for what I have. And if I want to shop, if I want to splurge, I'm gonna do that as long as my other bills are paid. and then you're with a guy that's a miser, sitting there like Ebenezer Scrooge, like,
Yeah.
we just went out last year. Why are we going out again?
Yeah.
That can be a challenge. That can be a challenge. And so you have to decide, is it enough of the other check boxes to make you say, yeah, I'll hang in there with him, or what, I'm kind of getting sick of this.
Yeah. Because they say, even you put me to the test with something that I had going on, like, is the good outweighing the bad? Like,
The pros and the cons of it.
the pros and the cons.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, but I do think financial independence is important in relationships, but not so much as the heavy stuff, but just being mindful, watching out, watching how they're moving, and the things that, like, if you're buying a car every 3 months, like, what are we doing here?
What are we doing here? Yeah.
Yeah,
And to that point, I will say, and this is to any age group. I was going to say to younger ladies, but to any age group, don't get caught in the trap of having to depend on him for everything.
Yes.
I'm going to say this, and it's going to rub some feathers, piss a few people off, but
Yeah.
that's okay. Be mad with me, not Veronica. But
Mm.
let me be real, ladies. You're not a stay-at-home anything if you're having to rely on government assistance. And I'm not knocking anybody on government assistance. I'm not. I am
Okay.
not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not. Let me be
Mm-hmm.
clear. What I'm saying is, I see too often where women are with these guys and they're like, "Oh, I want you to stay home, and I don't want you to work. I'm gonna take care of everything." But she's getting food stamps.
Mm.
But she's getting Medicaid. But he has tricked you to stay at home, which means you've removed yourself from the workforce. You've moved yourself from opportunity. You've removed yourself from expertise. And so guess who you are now dependent on? Him and the government.
Yeah.
And neither are reliable.
But EG, how is that possible though? How is that possible to be on the assistance from the government and also having it to live in? Are you just talking about boyfriends that's dropping by? Are you talking
No,
about
I'm
living?
straight up living situations. I mean,
Yeah.
we've all seen it, right? I'm not. He may be paying all the bills, right, and everything, but how she has things structured with the government is like she's living alone by herself.
Yeah.
But she may be living in a Section 8 apartment.
That's what I'm saying. How is that even possible
Now
when
on the
he's
lease.
working?
He's not on the lease, right? And they got a whole system. If someone needs to come by, he's not going to be there. Again, please understand,
Yeah.
I am not knocking anybody that's on public assistance at all.
Yeah.
At all. What I'm saying is, don't allow a man to trick you into believing he has you as a stay-at-home goddess, when really he is putting you in a, let's take public assistance out of it. Be
Mm-hmm.
really, really careful of how any man puts you in the position of being stay at home and removing yourself from the workforce, because the further you are removed from the workforce, the harder it is to get back into it to earn a reasonable living wage if you and he don't make it. And I just say that because I see so many men use that, not all, but I see so many use that as
Yeah.
a way to control from behind. And then so many women, especially, I have to say it, especially chocolate women that look like you and I, we don't necessarily have the option to be a stay at home without penalty.
Mm.
And so if you're going to make me a stay at home, you're going to make me a stay at home. I should not have to go sit in front of all these people and beg them for assistance and tell them all my life business. And I'm sitting in a room full of everybody else. But you say you treat me like a queen. No, you're not. Now, if I have to do that because we're struggling and I can't find a job right now and you do, that's different. That's
Mm,
different. But if you're telling me, no, I don't want you to work and go do no. Mm-mm.
yeah.
But again, y'all, that's my opinion, not Veronica's, and
Yeah.
I'm definitely not knocking anybody that has to do it. But it should not be a plan because again, two things that we know are unreliable: the government and a
Mm,
man.
right.
Who was the government run by? A man. So there you go.
Mm,
Um,
mm. Moving on. Well, that's facts though, EG. And that's why I love when you're on the show because you don't sugarcoat anything. Like it's straight out the mouth to the point. Is how you feel. So hey, we rolling with it.
Mike
So
asked a question. Did you see this?
yes, I
Oh,
did. You want to go there now?
we can't. I'm following your lead, girly.
Okay. So, hey, Mike, he says, friend zone. When do you know and why friend zone a person? Huh. Friend zone. When do you know and why? I think you know right off the bat if you want to, um, if you want to friend someone, put them on the
Mhm.
side, or if you want to really, get to know that person. I think you know right up front. Um, Either from that first encounter, whether it be a first date out, whether it be a first text message. However, I feel like you kind of get a vibe of, I don't know if I want to go on or
But when do
just
you tell the other person that you're ready to go on, or you just want to be
friends.
friends? Because that's the question.
I think it's more, see, I'm easy to catch on. Like, I know if I'm getting a vibe of, okay, it's not moving,
Mm-hmm.
you know um when it comes to just meeting someone is what I'm saying. Just meeting someone, I think I get the vibe. Like, depends on how you how are you moving, are you texting, are you I don't know, it's just little small thing. I don't want to give up too much.
So, okay. So let's talk about that. Okay. Mike's question, friend zone. When do you know and why friend zone a person? Okay. So, when do you know you want to friend zone a person? I'm going to tell a secret that Veronica is dancing around, right? A lot of times, women will friend zone someone for two reasons. Either A, we really do like you, but we want to move slow, right? We don't, for whatever reason, we don't want to just jump in. Or B, you're a nice person to be around for whatever reason. But we know we don't want more, but you're a nice guy. Like if I need someone to go out on a date with or go hang out with, this is somebody I can call up.
Yeah.
Right. Not saying we want you to pay for it, everything, but you're non-threatening. I don't have to worry about fighting you off my panties all night, blah blah blah. Okay. Um, and so that's the reason why. That's now I'm a firm believer of if you know that person, if you're starting to pick up on that person is really feeling you and wants to get to know you better,
Hmm.
be straight up. Like, if you're friend zoning them because you really just not vibing with them, don't say it like that, but hey, I'm not looking for a relationship. I think you're really cool, but I
Yeah.
know you're wanting more, and that's not what I have to offer. Or if you're friend zoning them because you just want to take it slow, either way, be straight up. I'm not saying you got to tell them the whole 411, but that's the girl code that I'm kind of breaking right there.
Yeah.
We will friend zone someone, but it's not always simply because we don't like the person. A lot of times it's because we just want to take it slow.
Right. Thank you, EG. Mr. Sammy. Mr. Sammy says you can meet a lady and she say she is okay financially. Okay, we're going back to the finance thing.
Mm.
You can meet a lady and she says she is okay financially, but very soon afterwards they claim they they did help from they need help from you for this and that. What's up with that? They claim they're financially independent. They don't
Mhm.
need this, they don't need that. But then later on, it's like, well, I can say, if you're just meeting um, someone that, I'll say for me, for instance, say if I needed financial help for whatever reason, and you're just meeting me, I'm not the type of girl that's going to jump out and say, hey, can you help me pay for this? I'm a little short. Can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? Just meeting you. I'm not that girl. I'm not going to do it because one, I'm not trying to scare you off. I'm not trying to, come across as I'm a girl that is only, trying to find someone to help me out. I'm all about money. So that's one reason why that may come across. Later on down the road, maybe 6 months, a year, maybe, if I need some help, I may ask, hey, can you help me with this? I need a new tire, or I need, I don't know, whatever.
Right.
Can you help me out with that? That's later on down the road. But if you're just meeting someone and they're jumping out at the beginning, first off the bat, and asking you to help them out in some financial way, I feel like that's a red flag. What do you think, EG?
I agree. I agree. And I always hear guys complain about this, but I'm always wondering about the guys like, where the hell y'all hang? Like, who are the women you're around? Because, and maybe some of the ladies, I'm going to try to be non judgmental. Um, I'm the one, I always say I'll be sitting in the dark before I ask for help. Now that's pride on the other side. So I never quite understood, like, I know that there are women of all ages and stripes, right, that will go to a bar with $0 in their pocket
Mm-hmm.
with the expectation somebody gonna buy me a drink.
Yeah.
I ain't even trying to play like that. Now, I will tease with me and my girlfriends. We'll tease when we going out. Girl, I'm getting pretty. Somebody man gonna buy me a drink, right? But in my pocketbook is all my coins for what I plan. If you buy
Yes.
me a drink, I will be gladly,
Absolutely.
respectful for it. But that ain't my game plan walking in the door. I don't have that
Mhm.
expectation. But there's some women like that, and there's some
Mhm.
women, to Mr. Sammy's point, part of the game is they really are playing that they are in, because obviously if they come to you in the beginning like, yeah, I'm struggling, help me out, or I'm looking for somebody to take care of me, help me out,
Yeah.
you're gonna shy away. That goes back to where I said you pay attention from day one to the cues, right?
Yeah.
Don't just listen to what they say, watch how they move.
Mhm.
Watch how they
Absolutely.
move. And he says, I'm talking about,
A
and
couple of months
I'm
in.
seeing again, that's why I say you watch how they move from day one.
Mhm.
Because if you're really paying attention, and Veronica, this kind of goes to what you also want to talk about, emotional IQ. Part of emotional IQ is being able to not only pick up on how your reactions are affecting others, but also picking up and reading in between the lines, those nonverbal cues. I promise you, if you really pay attention to a woman, you will figure out whether she's in it, um, because she has the expectation that if she asks you for money, you're going to give it, right? Or if she's legit.
Mhm.
Not saying that things can't come up and she truly, needs your help,
Mhm.
but if you really pay attention to a person, male or female, you can learn early on before they ever ask you for a dime what's their stilo.
Mhm.
But sometimes we all caught up in the cotton candy clouds and the skittles of it all.
Right.
Which is what, a hustler kind of wants you to be caught up in.
Yeah.
That, when they hit you with that, oh yeah, Duke Energy fixing to cut out all these lights. By then you all caught on. But
Right.
You missed the cues where that person was telling you, yeah, I ain't go to work 2 days this week. And I do that every week when I feel like it.
Mm-hmm.
You missed the cue of this person hinting at they're behind on this bill or that bill. You missed the cue of this person is always shopping and you kind of have a clue of how much they earn. So the bags ain't equaling the wallet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at some point, the wallet is going to go empty and they're going to come to you. Pay
Right.
attention.
And that's why I always tell, like I say on the show quite often, stop being so flashy. Stop being so flashy online. Stop
Ah,
saying what you got, what you can do, and all that. Stop being so flashy, because some women are looking at that, and a lot of times women are peeping, scoping out on what you got, where you work, what you doing, what kind of car you driving, and they feed off that, and they're going to be in your inbox trying to get to know you for those reasons, and not for the reasons that they should be trying to get to know you. So, men,
that flossing, you are attracting what you put out.
yep,
That's the long and the short of it. I saw a comment
absolutely.
that said men in most cases will downgrade to help a woman, but a woman will never downgrade to help a man. I ain't gonna
Right.
say never, but but yeah, most of us not. But here's the thing, and I'm gonna kind of stray off topic a little bit. Cheryl says a lot of men lead with money, and they do. And they do. So you kind of get what you ask for because you're leading with money, whether they'll talk about how much they earn or where they work or what they
Mm-hmm.
have, blah, blah, blah. And then you're shocked when 2, 3 months later she's asking you to pay for XYZ. Well, you done told her all this stuff, right?
Absolutely.
And it doesn't matter if she has what you have. She's looking at it as, well, he can give me some more of what he has.
Oh yeah.
But I learned this from my mama, and this is kind of off topic,
Mm-hmm.
but kind of piggybacking off of what Mike said. That's true, and it's not about most men. And in most cases, men will downgrade. Um, I always say this is about cheating, and we're not going to go down that road. But I just want to say this
Mm-hmm.
to ladies who get involved with men that are in relationships, and you get excited because he's buying you something.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. This RTE giving y'all some
Uh-oh.
advice. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Get out your pen and pad. If you like to run around with married men or committed men and you get excited because he buys you something or pay a bill for you, please, 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 please understand you will never get what the wifey gets.
Mm.
When a man is gifting you something and he's in a relationship, he is gifting you or paying for you that amount that his wife won't notice. I don't care if he earns $7.50 a month or an hour,
Yeah.
or if he's making $750 an hour. Every man has an amount that he can spend and his wife won't notice, won't care, won't ask no questions about. Baby, that's what you getting. And you ain't gonna get a penny more than that.
Mm.
And when he goes to pick somebody to run around with, if he needs to impress you, you gonna get those little coins. I used to say all the time when I was married, my husband can't pay but one mortgage, and that's mine. You ain't gonna get mortgage status. There's
Yeah.
a limit for the average man. I'll be honest, average man can probably spend about $200 to $300 a month if they're making about 95 to $150,000 a year. They can spend about $200 to $300 a month, not at one time, but across the month, that their wife won't notice.
Mm. Mm-mm-mm.
So guess what? He can't cheat with a chick like E. He can't cheat with me because what the fuck we gonna do with $300 a month? And you got to piecemeal it out, right? He's going to run around with a chick that he can take to a low budget hotel, or she got her own place.
Mm-mm.
The chick that she needs a water bill or a light bill paid, but not a car note.
Mm.
That's my advice. I'm trying to tell y'all. Don't ever think you're getting what wifey is getting. You won't.
Oh no.
You will not. You will not. That money that he is spending on you, that's his play money that he can get away with, that his wifey does not care about. Okay. Excuse me. Moving on. Moving on. Excuse me. Close my curtain.
All righty then. I don't know if you saw where Lisa. Wait, that's Mr. Sammy. It was a comment further up where Lisa had made to you. I totally agree with EG. I just had this conversation with my daughter. Never be dependent on someone. Make your own money, and if he can add to your life, that's great. One thing I don't want my daughter to do is to be dependent on a man.
I
Absolutely.
agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And when we talk about dependent on a man, it's a couple of different factors in there, right? There very well may be cases in which one person is earning more than the other, right? And providing a higher percentage to the table. But when we're talking about being dependent on a man, I always say to my little nieces and ladies that I mentor, what you want to do is always be in a position where you can always get up and go
Hmm.
if you need to.
Absolutely. And see, and that's why I'm sorry, somebody sent me a topic that they
Okay.
want me to read.
Okay.
So that is the truth, EJ, and this is what I try to tell young girls as well, young ladies. Like, okay, you get into a relationship or whatever, but make sure that you're able to afford things. Like you said, if anything were to happen and you have to leave, you're not without anything. You're able to still pay the bills on your own. You're still able to, do the luxury things that you've been doing. Just make sure you're not
Right.
living above your means where you can't handle that if something were to happen. So,
Exactly. Exactly.
hey, Miss Carol, how you doing? Can't wait to see you.
Michael says Sharon is Karen, everyone. No, it ain't.
Yeah, and he's
No, it
from
ain't.
He's from New York, and I think he mean the podcast because he always shared the podcast.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. On that note, yes, sir. It very much
Yeah,
is.
Michael Keith, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, he always shares the podcast. So someone says, should a person go all in a relationship, or should they
Define.
only go all in when it comes to a marriage? So should you give all your all in a relationship, or should you, you know those feelings that 100% only comes when you're married?
Well, and you defined it a little bit. I would say first let's define all in, right? Because that can mean so many things.
Mhm.
Um, I will say this, and you and I have both been married.
Yeah.
Um, whether y'all like it or not, there are certain things that are protected within a marriage, right? And so if you can't benefit from those things outside of a marriage, be careful how you go all in.
Mm.
Perfect example, and this is not necessarily protected in a marriage, but it does not, only a marriage can make it automatic. Everything else you have to go down to the clerk of court and make some stuff happen.
Mhm.
You see a lot of women, not a lot, but you see many women that will get involved with a guy who has a house and they're living in the house. It's his house, right?
Mhm.
His house. They never get married, but she's paying mortgage. She ain't paying bills. She's paying the mortgage, helping to pay the mortgage, helping to pay the homeowner's insurance. And then they break up. She has no equity.
Mm.
But guess what? If they were married, even if he bought that home before they got married, if she pays some bills in there, she has some equity entitlement, right, to that home.
Mhm.
And so, I'm not going to say don't go all in, but I think that's such a broad statement. You need to define it more. But I would say this: don't be fully committed expecting marriage benefits
Mm.
as girlfriend status. It will never work. You never win.
Now, when you say marriage benefits, because yeah, let's break this down because a lot of times I hear the question, or the I hear people say why, and I hear a lot of women say this. Well, men say it too sometimes, but they, why are you doing um wifey things, but you're only the girlfriend?
Mm-hmm.
What are wifey things?
Well,
Cleaning the house, doing this, doing that, doing, you do all that when you're a wife as well.
mhm.
But when you say benefits, that makes things a little different, because now I'm thinking more of 401k, life
and
insurance.
and that's a part of it. A lot of it is by age, right? So, we talk to younger women because we were taught to the same way. Don't go playing wife, cooking, cleaning, and all of that. And you just a
Yeah.
girlfriend and he's not committed to you. As you get a little bit older, you and I may do those things because we know where the boundaries are, because we've lived a little bit, right? And so
Mhm.
we know when to pull back, like, or whatever. But yeah, some of that is, you're playing house all the way up to the point, and then you realize, y'all may be fully moved in, living together, whatever. You're in your house and let him come in and y'all playing wifey or whatever. And then you realize, yeah, he has a whole 401k and you can't touch it. He gets sick in the hospital, and unless he explicitly says you're next to kin, mama can come up in there, possibly baby mama. You know what I'm saying? Those things matter. We don't like to talk about it, and we're like, oh, it ain't. No, those things matter. Here's the nuts and the bolts of, and again, some of it is by age, because as you mature and you grow, you know how to set expectations for a relationship up front, right?
Mhm.
Even if you move in with someone, you know how to negotiate for what you want and what you expect. But generally speaking, you start playing house with someone, right? It's a lot easier for that person to leave, male or female, when they're fed up than it
Mhm.
is when you're married.
Right. That's the truth.
So it's just little things like that.
I can
It's
close the door behind me, as your girlfriend, but as the wife, we're gonna have to go through some steps before, you know what I'm saying? Before this thing is
exactly, you
final.
got to go see a person in a black robe about some white paper.
Right.
It's little things. And so, yeah, if you have a 401k, since we're talking finances, if you have a 401k when you are married, right? You can't touch that 401k without your wife. Anybody that's been married and wanted to borrow against their 401k, what does it say?
Mm.
Spouse signature.
Mm-hmm.
Go get your spouse to sign this paper. Go get it notarized that they know you taking this money out of your 401k.
Yeah.
But if we just playing house, you can do whatever you want with your 401k. I may have been the one paying every single bill so that you can contribute to that 401k. That might have been the plan that we had together orally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to pay all the bills and you just can contribute to the 401k so we have a nice retirement savings. And then that joker get mad or get done with you or get mesmerized by someone else, and they take their whole $450,000 worth of 401k or whatever is in there. There's zero recourse you have. Zero.
Mm. That reminds me of the movie, and I know a lot of people may not, be fans, but I'm a fan. Tyler Perry's movie Diary of a Mad Black Woman. And
Mm-hmm.
you remember when the man got sick and the girlfriend told him to pull the, was it the girl? Was she the wife at the time? Was
I think
she
that
his?
was the girl. I could be wrong. I thought she was the girlfriend because I thought that was the whole. me.
Because I don't think he ever got married again. Like he divorced the. I
Mm-hmm.
can't remember, but she made the decision to pull the plug, but the wife stopped. That was like, no, you're not pulling the plug. The girlfriend tried to make a decision, but she couldn't make a
Mm-hmm.
decision without
Can make
that wife.
a decision. Mm-mm.
So, hmm,
Mm-mm. That's when you be sitting up in the church, hoping you get acknowledged as somebody's special friend. I'm not gonna be nobody's special friend. Don't even list me. I don't care if we had 20 kids together. Don't even list me if I'm gonna be somebody's special friend. About three sentences in, no. But
listen.
yeah, those are some of the, you know, drawbacks from being girlfriend status but playing wifey.
So that definitely would be the difference between the two. The statement that I made about you hear them saying, well, you playing wifey, but you're just the girlfriend. But when you brought up that about the benefits, now that's a little different because just a regular thing, cleaning the house, making lunch and cooking dinner and all that stuff that a wife does, a girlfriend can do those same things. But when you're talking about, financial stability when it comes to, like 401k and things like that, life insurance and blah, now we're talking the difference between the two.
Exactly. My girl Brooke just made a comment. She said, and when you bring people to the realization that marriage is a covenant, and then she took it back not just to the Bible, but girl went to the Old Testament
Hmm. Abraham, Noah, and
and
Moses.
Moses. Okay.
Yeah, it's
And marriage
definitely
is
real.
truly a covenant. That goes back to that point that you and I were talking about, marriage being a covenant, where if we're boyfriend and girlfriend, we can easily walk out.
Yeah.
Marriage is a covenant. Even the law recognizes that marriage is a covenant, whether it recognizes your religion or not. Our laws are based on Judeo-Christian principles, and so it recognizes it's a covenant,
Hmm.
and it doesn't make it that easy to just walk out on a marriage.
Right. So, but these days, a lot of people are not looking to get married. A lot of people are just looking to, do the shacking up thing and living as, um, girlfriend and boyfriend, not wanting to put that title to it. How do you feel about that? I know you say that you don't want to be listed as a special friend, but how do you feel about, these things moving in 2025? Things are so crazy. Like,
Again, do what works for you, but recognize there's limitations to it.
mhm,
You get what I'm saying?
yeah,
So again, if you the problem comes in when people say, I don't want to be married, but they want benefits of marriage because it is a covenant.
yeah,
And you can't get that from shacking. And I don't care what nobody says. Now, I am not anti-shacking. I'm not anti living together when you're not married. Let me find a better way to say that. All I am saying is it's perfectly fine. You have to just understand the boundaries in which you are doing it.
hmm.
The
It's the same,
protection or lack thereof you may not have. And I'm
right?
not talking about just financially. Again, it's a lot easier for someone to walk out of
Hmm.
a non-marital relationship.
Yeah. So you think that's what a lot of people are looking at these days is that okay? I don't want to get myself stuck. Maybe an ugly word,
But stop.
but stuck. They don't want to get into something and get stuck. Like I don't want that. I don't want to sign those papers saying that I am Mrs. blah blah blah. I don't want to sign the paper saying that I am Mr. blah blah blah. But I do want this lady, I do want this man in my life for a long time. But I don't want to put a title with it. Like I feel like it's to each his own, but you do
Mhm.
see a lot of that these days
You
because
do. I don't know. Like Mike said, good question because people nowadays don't respect marriage. I don't know if they don't respect marriage. I think some of it is they are afraid of the consequences of marriage or what they perceive as the consequences of marriage.
Yeah.
I think divorce rates are so high that people say, if it's a high probability we're going to break up anyway, why put myself in a situation in which I have to fight to get out of it? Going back to what I just said, it's not easy to get out of a marriage or
Yeah.
as easy to get out of a marriage as it is just a regular relationship. Um, but I think if you're getting into a relationship because you want to play married, but you don't want to fully commit, then you're getting into it for the wrong reason.
Hmm.
And I think both sides have to be, there can be guys that go along with it because they really love the woman, but she wants a husband, but she don't want to be a wife. It does cut both ways. And so, you know, there has to be an open conversation about what you all are trying to accomplish.
Hmm. And I can see when Mike says don't respect marriages, um, as far as to this perspective, I feel like a lot of people feel like they can move in a way where no, not where they feel like they can move. I feel like a lot of people move in a way where they're not respecting that other woman, or they're not respecting that other man, because they feel like, okay, if they make a move on me, if they reach out to me and trying to talk to me knowing that they're married, that means they don't respect the person who they're with. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'm not respecting the marriage. You see what I'm saying? Like,
Hmm.
I think I kind of twist what Mike said,
No,
but
I get what you're saying.
they don't
If they don't
respect
respect their mate that they're currently with,
our
what makes me think that I'm any more special than them? Hmm.
and it's sad. And Mike says COVID broke up a lot of
It
homes.
most certainly did. It most certainly did.
Do you think it was because like sitting in the house and they was getting tired of one another? And I mean, they probably been was tired. They been, was feeling that type of way. But when they couldn't leave the house and move the way they was moving, breathing, catching that fresh air from one another, then it's like, okay, sitting in this house, we arguing back and forth over the littlest things. Okay, this is it. I can't take no more.
I think that's part of it. I'm just gonna be a little bit more real and say they had no alibi, right? Because if and this is for people that cheat. Okay, not saying everybody cheat, but yeah, a lot of
Mhm.
marriages break up because of cheating, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the number one, second only to finances, right?
Mhm.
Um, so if I'm cheating and COVID comes along and we're supposed to be on lockdown, I can't say I'm going to the gym.
Right.
Can't say I'm going to hang out with the girls doing XYZ.
Mhm.
And now I really need to see my boo thing. So I'm gonna just leave. I'm
Right.
gonna just leave in the middle of the damn night.
That's
Where you
it.
going? Where you going, sir? Where you going? So, but now to your point, I also think it made a lot of problems that were more pronounced, that were already there. It made them more pronounced. So if I was
Yeah.
already irritated with you, and then now we have to be in the house together,
Right. Yeah.
by default,
Yeah.
it is really showing how irritated I am with you. So
Yeah.
yes.
Because when you're at that point where you're like
I
tired.
can't hear you.
You can't hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can't hear
Uh-oh.
you.
Here's that technical difficulties. Can y'all hear me? Give me a thumbs up. Or is it just EG's in? Uh-oh. Can you all hear me? I'm waiting for some thumbs. I don't know. Did we win out? Okay, Miss Carol says yes. What about now, EG? I see one yes. Do I see a
Hello.
second? I hear you. Okay, Thomas, Mike, Zai, everybody's giving me thumbs up. Let me see. Easy, you may have to go. You may have to go out. Wait, let me text her, y'all. There we go. Oh no, I'm up close and personal. Get out my space, guys. But no, so EG had to drop out. She'll come back in. So most likely she had to log out and come back in. Yes, I heard her as well, Mike. So evidently she couldn't hear me. Um, it was something going on her end. But I appreciate y'all for the thumbs up and saying yes that you all can hear me. Um, so we'll wait until she get back in. Carol says, Veronica, you're so right. There's less people marrying. I'm still confused about this. What are we showing our kids? Absolutely, because now kids are going to think that it's not okay, that it's okay to not be married. So that's right. What examples are we showing the kids? So, EG, we're going to see if we can hear her. EG, can you hear me?
I
Uh
still
oh.
can't hear you.
Oh gosh, what happened? Um, can you guys hear me still? Let me know. I know you guys say you can. Yeah, I can hear both of
It's
us.
on my end. I'm gonna do a complete shutdown. It's on my end.
Okay. All right. So yeah, while EG is doing that, um, Miss Carol, back to what you were saying. Yeah. So what examples are we showing our kids? Or because if they're, they're just seeing the shacking up and, the guy or the female coming over to the house every other night, and there's nothing there. What are we teaching them? That it's okay to shack up? Is it okay to shack up? I'm not knocking it. I'm not, knocking anyone that's shacking up, but what are we showing our kids? So I feel like EG lips been popping while she was on here, and now that I'm up close and personal, let me put on some more lip gloss so that y'all can see that my lips are popping as well. Okay, when you get up close and personal, you see everything. But anywho, thank y'all. Thank y'all so much. I appreciate y'all. Mr. Sammy says the divorce rate was high because COVID and is still high. Don't blame it on COVID. Yeah, that's true. Not blaming it on COVID, but like Mike said, we did see a lot of people break up during COVID. Well, heard about. I don't know if I know anyone personally where it happened, but pretty sure if it happened during COVID, it was soon to come to pass. Not saying that we're blaming it on COVID. And I think my answer you said, Sammy Davis, that's one way they wanted to blame. That's one thing they wanted to blame it on. They was ready to go anyway. Exactly. That's what I said. There was already, um, they were already sitting there. It was already in the works before COVID anyway. So, um, hey, Robert, do you want to get married? Who are you asking it to? Me or EG? If that question is for me, yes, as soon as God sends the right person my way, yes, absolutely. I absolutely want to get married. Yep. Key. Thank you, Key. Hey, Key. So what about you, Robert? Let's ask that same question to you. Do you want to get married? Let's answer that right back to you. Thomas, are you trying to say that my head is big? What are you saying? Or is it because I put my lip gloss on? Carol, shacking up is to get to know each other. After 1 year in the same house should be enough. Okay. So you put a time limit on it. Miss Carol, are you saying 1 year after that year up, y'all should be making a decision whether you want to get married or not? Um, yeah. Is that what you're saying? So Mike says kids nowadays are the ones that don't want to get married. I guess they see the ups and downs in the home they was in and don't want to want that, so they're okay with just a relationship. That is correct. Yeah. So that's going back to, yeah, the kids are watching. And we think just because kids are young and we think they don't understand, they totally understand what is going on. They see it, they hear it, and they definitely are making decisions by our actions. So we have to be careful what we are throwing out there, what we are showing the kids that are around us, most definitely. Even when even if they're not your kids, like kids are watching kids at the school. Like I've been at this camp these past 3 weeks. You have to be careful how you move. For one example, I'm going to use, we took the kids on a field trip, and we took them to, this is when we went to Concord Mills and we was at the mall. So this one lady, we took them to the food court to get something to eat. So we all, each teacher or camp advisor, camp coordinator had a certain amount of kids that we was, looking after. So I had 3 boys along with another teacher. It was 2 teachers, and I had um, three boys, and went to the food court. And the lady that was working the cashier, she was so quick with, what do you want? I mean, she didn't say, what do you want? But as I told her what, like the child wanted a cheeseburger. So he's going to get the cheeseburger kids meal. What's the drink? So before I could say he don't want ketchup on his cheeseburger, it was like everything that I said, she had a quick response. Didn't give me a chance to say anything. So I looked at the other teacher and I was like, she's not even giving me a chance. And I looked, and all the kids' eyes was on me, and they was looking like, so I had to back off what I was getting ready to say because kids are watching. That was just a small example, but kids are watching. And I had to back off what I was getting ready to say because I didn't want them to think that it was okay to say those things to another adult, if that makes sense. So let's see if EG Mike is, EG. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Woo! Yeah, we're back. We're back. And seeing that goes to what we were saying at the beginning. Live is live, honey. There is no sugarcoating. No,
None, none, none. I had to take off my headset because it didn't want to cooperate for whatever reason. So
it is all
hopefully I
good.
sound okay because I'm literally using the microphone built into my laptop, into my
Yeah.
MacBook.
Yep. You sound great.
Okay.
So welcome back. So I was just responding to some comments until you got back. Um my Mr. Sammy says, Sister Carol, it take me much longer than a year. So we was talking about as far as shacking up, and Miss
Mhm.
Carol, which is Mr. Sammy's sister, she was saying that shacking up is getting to know one another, and she was like, maybe after a year, then we need to be talking about marriage. So Mr. Sammy is commenting to her saying it would take me much longer than a year. So
I would say, and again, I'm not anti living together because I did it before I got married, and I would, contemplating getting married, I would do it again if I
yeah.
were. Um, but I would say if it takes you longer than a year, then I think you need to be honest with yourself and the person. Like, are you really trying to move towards marriage? Right?
Right.
It may be something that you want, but are you truly trying to move towards it? You may have some concerns and some fears, and rightly so, about getting married. But if it's going to take you more than a year to get to know someone, living with them,
Mm,
then the question is, are you really ready for marriage, or are you really ready for marriage with that person?
yeah. Mike says not long enough. A year.
I think it is. Here's the thing: we have to keep in mind, you never fully know someone, because if we're human beings and we're truly living the human experience, we're gonna grow and change. And like, you can meet me at the beginning of the year and I'm in love with one flavor ice cream. By the end of the
Mhm.
year, I'm not, right?
Right.
You can meet me at the beginning of the year and I'm fine. And then maybe I go through something traumatic, losing a job, losing a family member, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It changes my whole perspective.
Right.
So, what you're trying to find out in that year is, how does this person react under stress? What is this person's expectations of me? And are they realistic?
Mm-hmm.
And within a year, for the most part, you're going to have enough stressors and enough celebrations to figure out who that person is. If you need longer than that, then again, are you truly, doing this to try to get to know if this is the person you want to marry?
Mm-hmm.
Or is this just a thing of convenience? And maybe if it's going to take you longer than a year, maybe that should not be done within the confines of living together.
Mm. Yeah. And Mike says you need to see a person in all seasons, so a year it's long enough. Are you saying isn't long enough, Mike, or is long enough?
I think he's probably saying it isn't long enough.
Yeah. Mm.
All seasons of what? Because all seasons in life don't happen linearly like they do, on the calendar, right? Seasons of life aren't, these 3 months of winter, these 3 months of spring. It doesn't happen that way. So
Mm-hmm.
we can live together for 3 years and everything is fine. And then it's year 4 that we experience something, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do we just live together until we have a season, a bad season, and then that's when you decide, is this the person or not?
Listen, because
I,
you're so right when it comes to that, because 3 or 4 years down the road, something could change. I could see a side of you have that I have not seen in these past 3, 4 years. And then all of a sudden it's like, wait a minute, where did that come from? Never saw this side of you before. Do I supposed to call it quits?
right, right.
So
So are you living to be understood, or are you working to understand?
right, right. Hopefully working to understand.
Exactly.
So Mike says, I've seen a person play the world greatest, but as soon as they got married, it was like a prison camp.
But again, it won't take you 3 or 4 years to realize that. It won't. But here's the thing. Now, here's the thing. And this is where I'm going to throw the caveat, and some of my ladies are going to be upset. If that year is spent planning a wedding, no, you ain't going to see the best of the person. And you're not going to see the worst of the person that you really need to see. What you're going to see is somebody excited about a wedding. And the stressors that you see are around the wedding. So I always say the wedding planning should not necessarily be the benchmark of y'all living together.
Mm-mm.
I would almost argue that the majority of the wedding should be planned before y'all live together, right?
Mm.
Because think about it. Let's just say I'm dating someone. We've been dating you for 2 years. He proposes, right? We've never lived together. When he proposed, we've been dating for a year, and then he proposes, right? And then we say, okay, well, let's get together. Let's move in together. And
Mm-hmm.
that whole year, we're not living, we're planning, and we're planning for this one big day. He's seeing me as an excited bride like Cinderella, but also Bridezilla. That's not a true representation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I always say, before you move in, if you're going to get married, either the marriage should be further away or the wedding should be planned before you move in.
Mm.
Within 12 months, if y'all aren't planning a wedding, you can see if that person is jealous, if that person is possessive, if that person has gone from being, sprite and active to boring
Mm.
and dead on a rock. You can see that fairly quickly if you take the blinders off and not get caught up in the wonderment of it all. And planning weddings tend to put the blinds on of the wonderment of it all.
So
That's just
Mr.
yeah.
Mr. Sammy says, remember, parents don't raise their little boys to get married.
They
Now
don't.
we both have boys.
They don't. They don't. No, you know what? Let me say this
Oh,
different. Let me say that different. Parents don't raise their sons for a wedding. We do try to prepare them to be good husbands if they're going to be husbands. That at least that's where I come from. If you're going to be a husband, this is what you need to understand to be a good husband.
mm-hmm.
But we definitely don't raise them up for a wedding. And even though we don't like to talk about it, weddings are typically really deal breakers in marriage before marriage even starts.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Miss Carol says, if you have kids, they as well need to know that there is a plan for the person in their lives. This gives the kids an opportunity to get to know this person. How soon are we talking though? How soon are we introducing kids to
And that's a whole different subject.
this?
Cause I'm gonna say it. Some of y'all be calling the boyfriend stepdaddy and daddy 2 months in, like, ma'am, you don't know nothing about this man to be bringing him around your kids, but okay, that's a whole different subject.
Yeah. You hear
And
too
that's
much.
another thing, though, when we talk about finances, right? Whether you live together or not, when kids are involved,
Mm-hmm.
you need to understand your partner's value system around money as it relates to kids.
Mm-hmm.
Because things that you want to spend for your kids, it may have nothing to do with how they feel about your kids, but everything about how they feel about money. But sometimes the two get misconstrued, right?
Mm-hmm.
A parent, a person that's more frugal may say, hey, why are we paying for all this money for this kid to be in dance competitions and travel baseball and all of that, right? It may have nothing to do with the kid, how they feel about the kid, but more around their value system around money. And they may say, I never had to do that with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
Those are things you need to understand, because you can't force that on someone. If you do, you're asking for trouble. Again, that's why you don't start trying to turn them into stepdaddy or stepmama 2 weeks in.
Yeah. That's like you say, that's a whole nother topic.
That's a
That's
whole
a
other
whole
show.
nother show
Yeah.
because we hear the stories, we hear the horror stories of the boyfriend. No, just be careful introducing your kids to these men and to these women that you're bringing into their life because everybody don't mean good.
And just because that person wants to be with you does not mean that they want to be with your children.
Right.
And
Yep.
again, you cannot if you force it, you're asking for trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely don't want to force it. And pay attention because these kids will tell you. Kids know when these people are putting off bad energy. Like
They
they
do.
know.
They do. They
Yeah.
do.
So we definitely have to pay attention to that. Mike, this is to you, EG. Mike says, EG, remember that saying, love is blind. She can see all the red flags and still hold on to hope.
Gotta say a word.
One day they will change. It might take the years to do so, or it might never happen. And that
It
is
might never happen. It's never gonna happen. Let me say this. Let me say this. This is a saying that y'all know I like to refer back to my mamas and my grandmas. My grandma used to say this all the time. A wedding, a marriage, don't solve a problem, it makes it legal.
mm,
A baby, don't solve a problem, it makes it permanent. When you see the red flags, thinking that you can love that red flag away, if you do this a little more, it'll go away. It's not. If it's a red flag, it's there for a reason. And I'm not even talking about in the most extreme cases of abuse or infidelity. But whatever that thing is that really irks your nerves about that person, or you really wholeheartedly disagree with in that person, there is nothing, you need to lean into that, because 9 times out of 10, Mike is right, it's not going to change.
Mm.
And thinking once we get married it'll be okay, once we have the baby, it ain't.
Mm-mm.
It's not.
It's gonna cause
Marriage
more.
just made it legal, the baby just made it permanent, and that person's still getting on your nerves.
And let's make it clear, when you say the baby make it permanent, we're not saying the baby make the relationship permanent.
It makes the problem permanent, because now that person is in your life, whether y'all together or not, for the next 18 years or whatever, really
Absolutely.
longer than that, till the end of. But it does not change, it does not make it better.
Right.
It makes yes, thank you for clarifying.
Mm-hmm.
Marriage makes the problem legal, babies make the problem permanent.
Right.
Permanent.
Absolutely. Scarra say, do not ignore the red flags.
Do not. And again, we're not talking about the most extreme red flags. I think if we focus more on the minimal red flags that some people say, oh, well, is that just a quirk you can't get over?
Mm.
I think if we focus in on those, then we'll be more cognizant to catch on to the real bad red flags, such as abuse, such as infidelity, such as deceit. But
Mm-hmm.
even sometimes with quirk, I think I've shared this before. My quirk is, if I go out on a date with a fella
Mm-hmm.
and he doesn't open my door, he just gets
Oh.
in the car and go to walking. Yeah, that's all kind of red flags for me. Because that's telling me, how are you gonna lean into this relationship with me?
Mm. So is that something big on your end? Like,
I
do
promise you.
really?
I promise you. I promise you. It is, because it says to me now, call me old fashioned, call me a southern girl, whatever you want, I will take it. But perfect example, I went on a date. This was a long time ago. Went on a date with a guy, and um he was paying the check. I had to go use the bathroom real quick. And when I came, I literally went to tinkle, washed my hands, came out. Wasn't even in there that long. Homeboy was in the parking lot. So I came back to the table. Girl was like, oh, he's gone already. He's walking to his car. I'm like, so you just left me? He's like, well, no, I done paid the check. I was just coming on out here. Like,
No.
sir.
Who
Yes, that
that?
is big for me, because that tells me how you think of me. You want to win my heart. Now, talk about ignoring some red flags. I ignore a lot of shit. Let me tell you, you can win my heart. We walking down the street and you realize I'm walking towards, I'm on the outside of traffic, and you say, hey, move over. Listen, you got me. I
Right.
will ignore a whole lot of stuff for 20 minutes.
Oh my gosh, he left
Probably
you.
6 months longer than I should have, just because he did little stuff like that. My ex, I mean, to this day, he was like, he opened the door for me. Even if I was driving, he would open the door. He's taught my son that. Open the
Yes.
door. And I'm
Yes.
not saying that's any measure of character, but that just tells me a lot about how you regard me.
Yeah. Same here. Same here. My ex did the exact same thing every single time we was out. He would open and close my door, and it taught my son to do that exact same thing. When my
Yes.
son and I riding together, he'll get
Yes.
out, he'll open my door, he'll open the
Even
door
if
for
you're
me.
driving, he knows to go over there and open mama's door. Exactly.
Yep.
It teaches. Now, here's the thing, right? A lot of fellas will say, well, what y'all doing for me? You gonna get a whole lot more, because you just showed me that you think a lot of me. that you have a high regard for me. And so because I recognize that, I'm going to put you on that same pedestal.
Right.
But if we get out the car and you get out the car and you waiting at the end of at the front of the car for me to get out and come around, yeah, yeah,
You know, EG, I mean, I feel you because I've been used to that for 9 years. I've been used to someone opening my door and closing my door. But everybody doesn't do that.
I know.
And that, am I lowering my standards? Like, what would,
So
but everybody
I'm
isn't going to do
learning
that.
that not all men do that or have been taught to do that.
Right.
And so if it's worth my energy, I may say something like, if I got okay, so you ain't gonna hold the door for me or whatever. Now, and part of that, here's the other part, right? I may not, if it's a first date or whatever, I may not get so upset about you not opening my door, right? But I'm gonna tell you where I am gonna get pissed off, where you get zero grace from me. We get to the door and you do not step back and hold that door for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you trash. You trash. So don't do this dumb shit right here. You know how they like to push the door open and keep walking. Am I just a random stranger on the street?
Right.
No. You pull the door open, you step back to the side and let me in. That's where, yeah, I might give you some grace in the car because maybe you weren't taught that way. And I might say, oh,
Yeah.
so you're not gonna open the door for me? You're like, well, no, I never have, but I will. Okay, but okay. But I'm gonna watch how you handle that door
To go inside or to
to
go
go
out.
inside.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that. But as far as the car door, now the first time I swear I'll be looking for it. Like, because that's what I'm used
Girl,
to.
I be sitting there like, be like, we got a reservation. What you doing? Oh,
Look,
I'm waiting on you. Oh, you don't open car doors? Okay.
I like play it off though. I play it off like I'll put on some lip gloss or something.
Right,
Like,
right,
I'm just gonna come
right.
over here.
Oh, I was waiting
That's
on
how.
you. You were waiting on me. Yeah, well, you never came and opened the door. Yeah.
Dang, now I
Or
told
like
my
I said, or
sister.
if we're walking, walking down the sidewalk or whatever, and you don't realize I'm standing on the outside of traffic and you don't, move me
Stay on
over
the
and
opposite side. Yeah.
yeah, who raised you? Who raised you, sir?
Oh gosh. Oh man. Let's go to some of these comments. I'm telling
I
you.
can't see any. I have my contacts in, so I can't, and I closed everything out on my laptop.
It's okay. Thomas said it's not going to change if that person doesn't want to change. And that's exactly right. We all know the saying, you have to want to change yourself. You cannot change no one else. Mr. Sammy says, before I got married, I wouldn't date a lady with kids because of the baby daddy drama. Yeah.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
I can
I
agree.
always,
I ain't
I
even mad.
always, huh?
I said I'm not even mad about that.
Yeah, I'm not mad with that. I even told myself, my younger days. This was before I had my own son. I would say to myself, like, I don't want to date anyone with kids. Like, I don't. Once I had my son and things didn't work out between, his dad and I'm like, now who am I to say that I don't want to date anyone with kids? And I have a son. I can't live that life no more. I can't say that I don't want someone, you know that already have a child because I have one. So I definitely understand that, Mr. Sammy. Carol says now everyone has a baby daddy. Well, there are still some men out there. I met a guy and he don't have any kids and
Yeah.
he is 49, I think. Yeah.
It's still a few out there that's not a baby daddy or a baby mama. It's still some.
Right. So there's still hope, ladies, for those of you who are looking for someone without kids. Mike says, e.g., he might have been thinking you was independent and forgot you want that type of love.
You're right. You're right. That's why I say, I give a little grace. I give a
Right.
little grace.
Because a lot of women out here screaming, I'm independent. I don't need a man to do this. So
I'm not gonna say that. I'm not
right.
gonna now, and I've always said this. Even women that say they're independent, any woman will tell you it is tiresome being independent. We say it and claim it because we have no choice,
Mm,
right? Because that's the hand we were dealt for whatever reason. But any
mhm.
woman worth her salt will tell you, if she could find a partner that was on his shit and she didn't have to worry about every little detail, every little
Yes,
thing.
absolutely.
No,
I mean,
no,
who really wants to be alone out here?
right. My plants are dying in my yard. Trust me, I promise you. I got $300 worth of plants out there dying. I ain't trying to be independent, but I have to be. But it's okay. It's
Yeah,
okay. But but
it's
yeah,
okay.
Mike. I will give a slight pass, but you better start carrying on for a minute now. Come on.
Okay. Miss Kara says she have stood and waited for him to open the door.
I
Mm.
don't blame them. I don't blame them. I don't blame.
Mike said, I'll open the door for you, but if we in an argument, you have 1 to 2 seconds before that door closes on you.
What you say,
Dang.
Mike? Girl, you better bring your ass on.
You better come on because you know I ain't talking to you. You better catch this door.
Right. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be, if we arguing, I'm gonna snatch the door open myself.
Like, I got this. I don't even need your assistance at this point.
So we both snatching and closing doors, about to tear people shit up.
Right. Shannon says, why are your plants dying?
They are dying because the Lord, our God and Savior, has decided that the heat index should be 104 degrees. And with that, he has decided that when it's 104 degrees in South Carolina, it's humid and little gnats and bugs like to come out. So I am sick of going out in the heat to water plants and fighting the gnats. So they're going to die until I get a better attitude. I have a bad attitude right now. I
And
did go water them today, but I don't really see that being a future.
the attitude is coming from the heat.
From the heat. From the heat.
It's definitely hot out there. Well, I don't even want to jump on another topic because it's already a quarter till, we may be on that topic for another 30, 45 minutes. So this has been wonderful. But EG, I must say that you and I both look like we are getting ready to take high school senior pictures. You remember those pictures where they had the top?
Yes, exactly. I thought about that. Yes, the little black velvet.
Yes, I
I got
swear.
to pull mine up a little bit, but yes.
I'm like, oh, we're gonna take school pictures. But yeah, I noticed that when you got on and I had this top on. Listen, guys, if y'all don't know, like my fitness classes are on Tuesday nights, and when I say be rushing home, I think I may have to start taking showers at the gym and just getting dressed there and then coming home and jumping on the live because I swear I be doing some rushing. Like, no lie, I took this t-shirt 5 minutes before we went live, cut the neck off, and slipped this thing on. Like, I be
It
running
is so
around
cute. I
like,
told you that. It is so freaking cute.
thank you, but I'm gonna have to do something else because the way I be running around here is crazy. But definitely we have a comment coming through from Shannon. She says, "True enough, you gotta wait till dark to water them. I just did mine, and I'm disabled. I need my plants."
Shannon, how about
Oh,
I pay you to come over here? Since you like to troll around at night, let me just pay you to come fight with these doggone plants. I think you missed earlier when I told Veronica I left the whole doggone water hose on from
right.
Saturday until today. It was so hot. I forgot that I literally just threw the doggone water hose down, girl.
Listen,
Listen, I had forgot I left the doggone thing on until I went back out there today.
she said she's on her way. Uh, she said
Come
I
on.
was a night shifter. Yes, it is the heat, it's the bugs, and now talking about going outside this door and frogs are out. Miss
Oh
me.
yeah, you and the frogs, yes. You and the frogs don't get along. I thought I was scary.
Listen, I don't know if my little friend Zach's still on here, but we took the kids to it was a museum over there, museum or library, I can't remember that. But the kids, like, we was playing instruments. There was a guy, he was telling stories along with an instrument, like he came into town to do that, and they had people there along with our schools
Mhm.
there. And he was telling stories as he was playing the instruments and stuff. So he had like frogs, not real frogs, just frogs, like instruments made out of frogs, and they was playing
Right.
and making the sound from the. You talking about? I was like this, like I
Oh,
could not take it.
wow.
Like anything with a frog, look like a frog, sound like a frog. I don't want no parts. So
And
no.
they are like the most non-threatening. Like I don't want to encounter them, but I don't get scared of them when I see them.
But you know what? Frogs don't bother me, but snakes, yeah, that too. But you
Yeah.
know what? It's not all frogs, and I'm not going to talk about it no more because I don't want to talk them up.
Right.
It is these green tree frogs.
Yes, yes. They're a little different. They're a little different.
Because they jump so
Right.
far.
They
Yes,
do.
they were so yes, I can't stand those things. But we're going to get off here. Thank y'all so much for joining us tonight. We appreciate you all. Thank you for hanging out with us. And we had technical difficulties. Eric, we're going to have to get him on another night. He wasn't able to get his sound working on his end. So he definitely going to join us another night. Shouts out to him because he may be watching and I'm not sure. But EG, thank you so much, girl.
Thank
I
you for
tell you, I
having me
can
always.
listen, I can always count on you to show up and
Got
show out.
to. Sometimes I can't make it, but if I can, I know I
Yeah,
will. You know I will. So
I
thank you for
appreciate
having me.
you.
And thank you to your supporters for always showing me love, even when they disagree.
Right. Yes. Thank y'all so much. Appreciate you. All of you for leaving your comments and watching. If you're not following the page, please do so. Share this live, and I just appreciate each and every one of you. And don't forget, YouTube. I appreciate those who watched over there on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel over there on YouTube as well. I appreciate y'all so much. Tangy of Life, Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Until next time, love upon one another. Love this thing called life to the fullest. Live it, I should say, to the fullest, and love upon one another. Enjoy your week. Enjoy the weekend. Until next time, see you then. Lots of love. Bye.